ever stood and stared at it, marveled at its beauty, its genius? Billions of people just living out their lives, oblivious. Which is why the Matrix was redesigned to this, the peak of your civilization. And I say your civilization because as soon as we started thinking for you, it really became our civilization, which is, of course, what this is all about. Evolution, Morpheus. Evolution. Like the dinosaur.
Welcome to Age of the Obsolete, the intersection of technology, democracy, and the future of work. I'm your host, John Revita. The revolution has arrived. Stamp it 4.0 and file under the future with a question mark. First came steam power, then electricity, then computerization, and now artificial intelligence. A technological revolution similar to those that preceded it, but at its core, profoundly different. A tipping point where all that's happened in the past is minor and inconsequential compared to the changes about to be unleashed. Not doomsday scenarios of robot overlords or humanity enslaved, but instead changes far more quotidian, yet equally unraveling. Looking outward for the next 10 years, economists estimate that the confluence of artificial intelligence and automation may result in the possible elimination of 47% of the current jobs in the U.S. Not just low-skilled, low-wage work, but also well-paying jobs in the legal, financial, and healthcare professions. No one is safe, and all age groups will be affected, from baby boomers to millennials to Gen X, even our children. Am I overstating the case? Being hyperbolic? After all, predictions about the future are notoriously unreliable. Empty facades made real by a pattern of statistics. All right, let's say it's not 47%. Let's make it 40% or even 30%. By comparison, at the height of the Great Depression in 1933, approximately 25% of the American. So even if the estimates are wrong by half, the impact will still be dramatic. But what if the estimates are wrong? To fully comprehend the potential disruption, we need to first understand the difference between artificial intelligence and automation. Automation is process-oriented and follows pre-programmed rules. Do A, then B, then C, and on and on. Automation has a singular purpose: to let machines perform repetitive, monotonous tasks. When we think of automation, what we usually think about is assembly lines with huge robot arms putting together cars. Artificial intelligence, on the other hand, is designed to simulate human thinking, which is far more complex and holistic. Unlike automation, AI is designed to examine data sets and find patterns. AI learns from experience, then self-selects the appropriate responses to whatever problem or situation it needs to address. Most importantly, once designed and set free upon the world, artificial intelligence learns at exponential speed without any additional need for programming or human intervention. But isn't that what we want? Isn't technology supposed to be an enabler that frees us from the boring and the mundane? If that was all it was designed to do, then the answer would be yes. But artificial intelligence is far more ambitious. For the past 150 years, the fundamental drivers of growth have been what economists call general-purpose technologies, technical innovations that impacted not just one, but virtually every industry, as well as the whole of society. Think of the internal combustion engine, The internal combustion engine gave rise to cars, trucks, aeroplanes, which in turn led to highways, airports, suburbs, and shopping malls, which then gave rise to big box retailers, commuter colleges, to travel and hospitality industry, and so on. This internal combustion engine. AI is used to monitor your credit card transactions, then identify anomalies that can be predictors of fraud. Facebook uses AI to determine what appears in your news feed. Because of the speed and complexity of financial transactions, it's AI, not human beings, that powers the global financial market. You may not see it, you may not understand it, but artificial intelligence is already ubiquitous and in short order will impact virtually every aspect of our lives. And therein lies the problem. Listen as members of McKinsey & Company define the potential threat.
With today's technology, roughly half of the tasks that people do can be automated. I mean, that's a staggering figure. So what it means is that increasingly, all jobs are going to be affected. The way we work and what we do is going to shift over time as machines and machine learning and artificial intelligence start to take over some pieces of what we do. And that will require people to adapt and change. And jobs, occupations as we know them today will shift.
I think that there are two changing work. One is that a lot of what humans used to do are increasingly being done by machines, robots, cognitive machines, simple software on your computer. The other side of it is digital technology is changing how we organize work. It's taking us from full-time employment, which was the predominant way of earning a living in the 20th century, towards a wide variety of non-employment work arrangements. And so what's exciting and scary at this point is the confluence of these two forces.
Well, in general, I tend to be optimistic about human creativity and ingenuity, but I think this time around we're facing some really severe challenges, right? People have made the case that we've been worried about this, previously, and, we needn't have worried because new technologies have created new opportunities for human beings. But I worry that this time might in fact be different because, we really haven't had intelligent machines in the past that we could trust with making decisions, right? That was in the domain of human beings, right? Machines did us, they helped us. But it's different this time, and it's going to be very challenging.
If AI can process information faster, deeper, and more accurately than humans, why would a company employ a person if it could replace that person with an algorithm that could dramatically reduce its costs while raising both its productivity and profits? And that's exactly what's beginning to happen. According to McKinsey & Company, 50% of all work can be automated. The result will be selling AI-based technologies. Or if you look at it from a worker's perspective, the potential loss of 73 million U.S. jobs. But these are just the surface dangers. On a far deeper and more profound level, AI threatens not simply our jobs, but the foundations of our democracy. Stable democracies require stable economies. The absence of economic stability can result in several scenarios, all of which now become distinct possibilities. First is economic disruption. Capitalism is predicated on the efficient flow of products and services among buyers and sellers. If people aren't working, they aren't buying. If people aren't buying, then companies aren't profitable. If companies aren't profitable, then they cut back on both production and their work exacerbates rather than solves the problem. The second scenario is political disruption. In a democracy, our elected officials are expected to represent the needs and desires of their constituencies. Aside from social issues, which are always secondary, The primary demand is for good jobs and higher wages. If those jobs are no longer available, or available only to a select few, then the foundations of our representative democracy become, at best, shaky. When people are struggling, they turn their angers and frustrations on those they see. In the U.S., this translates into racism as well as anti-immigration fervor. The immigrants being cast as low-wage job stealers. Fascism, nativism, right-wing populism. All are primarily outcomes generated by economic anger as well as distrust of a political system deemed to be economically unjust. The final scenario is social disruption. Research shows that a lack of economic well-being results in low self-esteem as well as broken marriages, domestic violence, and drug addiction. As just an example, consider the current opioid crisis. The U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention reports that 91 Americans die each day from opioid dependence. In fact, drugs now kill more Americans than guns or car accidents. Where opioid addiction is most prevalent, those areas that are economically depressed. A study by the National Bureau of Economic Research finds that as the unemployment rate increases by just 1 percentage point in any given U.S. county, the opioid death rate rises by nearly 4%. Will it happen? Will a significant percentage of U.S. workers be displaced by artificial intelligence? There are those that argue that AI will actually create far more jobs than it displaces, or that AI will replace only parts of jobs, with humans and technology working side by side. But one thing is certain. The revolution has arrived, and as in all revolutions, there will be casualties. Established companies will fail, new industries will rise. Are you ready for the coming disruption? What are you doing to protect yourself? Will you prevail in this brave new world of work, or will you become a casualty of the Fourth Industrial Revolution and fall into the ranks of the obsolete? This is John Rivito saying thanks for listening. If you have any questions or need these podcasts, please go to our website at ageoftheobsolete.com. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.